Wait, is he talking about the guys?
You have to travel to a different galaxy
Guys!
to find any signs of intelligent life that haven't heard about Pokemon.
Is he talking about the Porygon?
Media franchise of all time by a wide margin, over $110 billion in revenue. And it just seems like no matter what Pokemon does, they can't fail. Pokemon's a lot like me when I play chess. They just don't make blunders. Even when it's a pretty low-effort product they're producing, it still sells extremely well and people lose their minds over it. You remember like last year when Oreo ran that limited time Pokemon run where like the top of Oreo cookies would have like a Pokemon printed on it? People went wacko mode. It was full-blown chaos, bodies piling in the streets, mangled corpses everywhere as everyone fought each other to get their hands on the precious Pokemon Oreo cookies, because everyone was chasing those Mew cookies and selling them on eBay for hundreds and even in some cases thousands of dollars. So people went full-blown World War Z getting their hands on this, even though it was a pretty low-effort partnership. Everything Pokemon does great. They could announce tomorrow that they're releasing Pokemon-branded can openers.
Yeah. I just want to talk about the episode.
Epileptic seizures.
Oh yeah.
Right off the get-go. This is a story I remember hearing about when I was a kid, but always just kind of accepted it as like a boogeyman myth, not real, just like a legend, and never really bothered to look too deep into it until today, I got curious. And it turns out there's a lot of truth to it, although there are some sketchy details in there that we're going to go over. But the gist of it is, on December 16th of 1997, episode 38 of the Pokemon anime aired, and physically harmed some children watching the show, triggering photosensitive epileptic seizures or like headaches. And from some things I read,
Chad, you think it's bad? It's fucking bad. Because I was dumb at the time, okay, and I showed Chad the episode, okay. We can even watch it in slow motion, so it doesn't harm anybody. I'm pretty sure in slow motion it's probably not gonna harm anybody. That shit is fucking if you think it's like a joke thing, it's just not. It's busted, dude.
Even some of the kids went to the...
This is no shot. It's this bad. Listen, don't say it's not that bad, dude. The Porygon incident. Porygon. Seizure episode. I guess I'm gonna slow it down, okay? I'm gonna slow it down so it doesn't fuck you up. Okay. Hold up. Oh my fucking god. Okay, it's bad. I'm gonna slow it down, guys. I'm gonna test the waters and see if I slow down, if it's gonna be better. Hold up, wait a minute. No, I'm not going full speed. I'm not playing full speed.
The hospital.
Okay, guys. I'm giving you guys a warning ahead of time. Okay, this is slowed down to fucking 25%. Okay, so I think this would be fine. Okay, because I see this in video games. Okay, in video games there's a lot of flashing like that. It's not okay, listen. Look at this shit. Okay, fuck. Alright, let me select which one to fucking take off it. Okay, watch this. Okay, so a missile happens. Okay. Okay, that is 25%, plus I'm spending the play and stop, so nobody has a fucking seizure over this shit, okay? Okay, look, it changed 3 times of color before 2 skips at 25% at 200% speed. Okay, imagine at normal speed how fucking stupid this shit is. It's already slowed down twice! Look at this shit. Okay, so now you know. Now you're gonna know about the context. I'm more responsible than that. Okay, I will not be putting it in. I'm not gonna put it full thing. Oh my god, dude, guys, just look at my face. Okay, I'll take the hit for you. Okay, I'll take the hit for you. Okay, look at my face. Ready? Okay, you guys get the point now or what? You get the point now or what? Jesus Christ.
Called Dino Senshi Porygon, And in this episode, Ash and the gang didn't just blast off Team Rocket, they blasted off a nationwide health crisis. Up to 12,000 people reported with symptoms of headache, breathing problems, convulsions, vomiting, photosensitive epileptic seizure-related symptoms. But what was really the full cause of everything? We're going to get into all of it here in a moment. I'm going to go ahead and quickly play a clip from a news segment that covered it back in 1997, and then go into a bit more detail on what exactly happened here. Because it's not exactly the way that it was portrayed in the media at the time. They called it Pokemon Shock, and there's quite a bit more to it there. It's like a Transformers. There's more than meets the eye.
Guys,
this wasn't exactly as...
Guys, don't be too curious about the chat and go... Guys, I know it's telling you that not to watch it, okay? We'll make you go watch it. But actually, if you have seizures or whatever, don't actually watch it. It's pretty bad. It is actually...
situation where it was like The Ring, where you watch the Pokemon episode and then die 7 days later or anything. But we'll get into it in a second.
An investigation's underway in Japan into why more than 600 children suffered from convulsions and vomiting after watching a television cartoon program. It's thought that bright flashing lights in the cartoon, Pocket Monsters, were to blame.
Almost every Japanese child knows Pocket Monsters and its star Pakucho. They played
What?
a Nintendo computer game and were glued to the latest cartoon episode when a flashing explosion created from these slowed down images triggered convulsions in hundreds of children. Many were kept in hospital for over 24 hours. Often those affected had no history of epilepsy. More children had fits when excerpts were replayed on the news.
Can you imagine that hell? That double whammy? You just get released from the hospital after getting hit with the cursed Pokemon episode. You go home and your grandma's got the news on and it's still playing the Porygon episode on loop. And you just get like hit all over again, just another flare-up and have to go back to the hospital, just an endless cycle. Now let's really dive in here. This was a huge deal. Like I said, I remember hearing about this growing up. This actually almost led to Pokemon being cancelled outright, and it went on a 4-month hiatus after this episode aired and all of the backlash they received from it. Which makes sense. I don't think I've ever heard of another case of a TV show physically harming its viewers. It's not like it can reach out and beat your ass. So this was a pretty unique circumstance here. It was attributed to the red and blue flashing light.
Guys, this reminds me of guys. Remember the shit, the thing we watched together. Guys, I am actually still mentally scarred from that. I think I showed you guys the lines, the red and the green shit. That is you know what, dude? I'm not even talking about it.
Lights that happened in the episode during the Porygon battle.
I
the
still
actual
see
clip
it.
from the episode is readily available on YouTube. You can watch the entire episode, though. It's not...
Guys, it's a phenomenon, okay, with colors and shit, okay? That you can look on your screen, okay? And that shit is so busted by doing the exercise, which is a trap, okay? Literally, don't do it. It literally rewires your brain. It actually does, okay? It legitimately rewires your brain, okay? And then when you see in real life lines that are vertical, okay? It could be anything at all. Vertical lines, you can still see the colors in between the fucking lines, even if it's made out of wood, out of metal, if it's outside, if it's a fence. I still see it, man. I still see it, man.
The face of the earth or anything, and only exists as like an old fairy tale. You can still watch it if you so choose, but I'm not gonna jump scare you with it for obvious reason. So initially, this was marked up to poor animation decision here to flash red and blue lights that quickly.
This is the Makolo effect,
They're flashing at 12 flashes per second, which falls in the 10 to 20 flash category, which can trigger epileptic seizures in some people, at least based on what I was reading. However, upon further digging, there was a researcher named Ralford who really wanted to get to the bottom of how this happened, because initial reports said that like thousands of kids were getting affected by this, and it got an...
Let me see. Ah! I still see it! I still see it, man. Man, I still see it, man.
Actual name.
This is
Pokemon
not right,
Shock,
dude.
because it spread so wildly, it was such a big deal. But Ralford noticed something a bit curious with it, because they said as many as 12,000 kids experienced these symptoms, but only about 1 in 100 people have epilepsy, and only 3% of those individuals have photosensitive epilepsy. So if these numbers were accurate, then the rate would be significantly higher here with these children. It'd be 10 times as many people with photosensitive epilepsy than would be expected. So the question became, did Japan have an unusually high number of children with photosensitive epilepsy, or was it something else? That was the question Benjamin Ralford aimed to answer.
Wait,
not only did the numbers not make sense to Benjamin Ralford, but the timeline
then some of these people faked it for fucking insurance money then.
Didn't either. The widely accepted timeline of events is as follows. Episode 38 airs in Japan December 16th, 1997. Charlie's 3 years old at the time. But in Japan, while kids are watching this episode, some of them experience photosensitive epileptic seizure-like symptoms. Headaches, breathing problems, convulsions, vomiting, all kinds of ailments from watching the show live. And this is true. There were about 600 or so reported incidents from them watching it live. However, a lot of kids watched the show the next day, or even over the next 2 days after word had already spread about the Pokemon shock and the injuries associated with
and not
the
as many
episode.
got it.
Not every case was reported on the actual live date of the episode's airing. He says, the next day I found news reports talking about how Pokemon attacks were the talk of the schoolyard. Of course they were. There were about 600 kids who genuinely did have headaches and convulsions and breathing problems, and it wasn't until 2 days later when everyone's hearing about it, everyone in the schoolyard is talking about it, that was the key, because it provided the opportunity for contagion. So what Benjamin Ralford is suggesting here is that while there was like 600 kids who genuinely did have headaches and breathing problems and all these awful symptoms, over the next few days, as that number rose to like 12,000, it's not that those kids were faking their symptoms or anything, but what they were experiencing wasn't the result of photosensitive epilepsy, it was the result of mass hysteria. Mass hysteria is defined as an outbreak of unusual and uncharacteristic behaviors, thoughts, and feelings, or health symptoms shared among a group of people. People affected by mass hysteria typically believe something specific has triggered their symptoms. So let's go ahead and take a bite out of
5G. Isn't 5G mass hysteria? It literally is, isn't it? It's saying something is happening, and so you're like, wait, is it actually? And you spend so much time thinking about it and rethink about it, right? That it actually kind of is happening, but in a different way, right? Where you're kind of like almost placeboing yourself almost.
this sandwich here. Pokemon Shock, as it was called, was talked about constantly on the news, talked about in schools, in public. Everyone was talking about this Pokemon episode that was injuring people. They were talking about the symptoms they were experiencing. They were talking about and even displaying all kinds of other ailments, all attributed to the Pokemon episode. So people started to self-produce these symptoms, even with no actual photosensitive epilepsy or anything like that, because they were constantly influenced by their external sources. They kept hearing about this Pokemon episode and all of the problems it would cause, the breathing problems, convulsions, the headaches, and all that. And as they're constantly being exposed to that information, they started to feel it themselves. And it's not that they were faking these symptoms, it's not that they weren't actually experiencing them, but it wasn't because of photosensitive epilepsy. It was attributed to mass hysteria, or so Ralford concluded, as well as many other researchers who looked into it.
And then what?
Outside of the initial 600 or so,
I'm kind of ADHD.
which is still really fucking wild. I feel like it may have been confusing to follow, and I may not have explained it super well, so just to put it all in a little nutshell here, episode 38 of Pokemon airs while watching it thing. Pokemon, so it just led to a lot of unpleasantness for...
Yep, that was good. That was good.